What's up, everybody? Kong Spideyzilla here, and today I'm going to be telling you what is my ranking of the Godzilla versions. What are the different versions of Godzilla, I have in my ranking, how do I rank them and all, but what is my ranking? What is my least favorite to most favorite Godzilla version of Godzilla, incarnation of him? Well, you guys are going to find out today. I highly recommend you guys check out my Kong ranking video where I basically ranked all the versions of King Kong from like least favorite to most favorite. So there you go. I recommend you check that video out if you're interested in Kong, but if you're just here for Godzilla, well, this is only going to be for you. Same thing goes for people who are just interested in King Kong, but I know most of you are mostly here for Godzilla, so yeah, I bet you this is what you guys mostly wanted, more over Kong, but I wanted to get King Kong out of the way first, so I can get to Godzilla. And plus, I like King Kong just as much as Godzilla. So there you go. I'm more of a bigger fan of Godzilla, but when it comes to the characters, I like Godzilla just as much as King Kong. I like them equally. So I wanted to get to Kong first because, he was first before Godzilla, and now I'm at Godzilla now. So here's my ranking of the different versions of Godzilla. And no, this is going to be my own personal opinion. And fun fact, I don't really have a least favorite design in here. Or version. I don't have a least favorite version in here. Honestly, I like all these versions of Godzilla. I really do. This is mostly just going to be not a least favorite to most favorite. This is more like going to be along the lines of a favorite, like a likable to most likable. So, I like all these different versions of Godzilla. So, I like all the versions of Godzilla that are in this video are going to be here. I like every single version of the Big G. There isn't a version of Godzilla I dislike at all. There's not a version of Godzilla I dislike a bit. I like all the versions of Godzilla. I like every single one of these versions of Godzilla. I repeat, I like all the different versions of Godzilla. There isn't a one I dislike or despise. So there you go. Just want to get that out of the way. So I don't offend some people when, certain guys are lower on the list. So yeah, let's get to it. So I counted that there are 10 different versions of Godzilla, and plus I'm not including the anime Gojis or the comic book Gojis. Those are their own different versions, and this is only the live action movie strictly. So who is it? Well, who's gonna be at number 10? Well, guys, do not get mad at me, but remember, guys, I do not dislike any of these versions of the Big G. I like all versions of the Big G. I like all versions of Goji. So this is more like gonna be a likable to favorite. So here we go. The OG King of the Monsters, yes. Godzilla 1954. Gojira. The original OG Gojira. So, we got here Godzilla 1954. What can I say? He's the OG Godzilla. He's very cool. I mean, a dark Godzilla. The first Godzilla that destroyed Tokyo, and it wasn't even the Godzilla. What makes this guy unique is that he's not even the Godzilla that fights the monsters, but it's almost like in a way he still is the Godzilla we know and like. Dang, that is such a cool shot right there. Like, dang. I need to use that for my fan films. So, just like, this is the OG Godzilla design. The design is just well done, and this is where how he was first created. Where he came to be. It is the original OG Goji design. So you gotta appreciate it. You gotta respect it in the world of fiction. It's awesome. It's great. Just special place for me in the world of fiction. Definitely. So you have the original, the OG Godzilla, 1954. Now, that 1954 was number 10. Here we got number 9, Shin Godzilla. Now remember, Do not get mad. This is my own personal opinion. And I like old versions of Godzilla. I like old versions of Godzilla. I just have most likable to most likable, okay? So I really like how monstrous this Goji looks. He's scary, he's threatening, he's intimidating. He just looks so weird and creepy. I like it. It just really gives off that very monstrous vibe. He works for as a different version of the Big G. He works as a different version of Godzilla. So this Godzilla has a great modern feel to him. I like how modern he is. I like all the cool abilities he has. Just like he is like this is like the Godzilla that's like death incarnate. My nickname for this guy should be like Deathzilla. There you go. So he's like a very he just makes for a great antagonistic Godzilla. He's threatening, he's intimidating, just like he's a unique version of Goji. So there you go. So but I prefer at the end of the day I always prefer my regular typical Godzilla. So there you go. That's Shin Godzilla for you at number 9. It was really cutting it close between this guy and number 7. Which one I should put in number 7, which one I should put in number 8, and I made my choice. This guy is a number 8. So, honestly, my favorite Godzilla design of all time. This is actually my favorite design of Godzilla, period, in the live action movies. So, why is this dude at number 8? Well, I'm sorry, what really drags him down is his lack of. He's not as bad, but he doesn't have as much good character. He doesn't have as much good character. He's not that bad. He's not as bad, but as the other Godzillas. He's just kind of like he gets his butt whooped way too much. He's not. He's not as good as antagonistic Godzilla. He's a good antagonistic Godzilla, but I wish they would have really shown it more. His savageness, you know, more of his intimidation, more of his threateningness. You know, I wish they gave him more character. You know, I wish he was more bad butt and all. I would have, if he had more of the elements of what made the other Godzilla so great. The other ones coming up next, I definitely would have put this guy much higher on the list. But unfortunately, this is where he is. But this version of Godzilla design is still cool. I'm just letting you know what really drags him down. But still, this version of Godzilla is awesome. I really like this version of Godzilla. There are some moments, plenty of some moments where he still shines. Um, can't forget about that cool shot in Against Mechagodzilla where he's like this, and then his spikes are flashing. Great shot. So there you go. There is Kuryusaga Goji sitting at number 8. Here he is. You can tell who's already at number 7. Here he is. The GMK Godzilla. Now, unfortunately, I noticed I just have every other version of Godzilla in a action figure form, but I do not have this guy. It's a massive shame and disappointment. Just like, I cannot believe I don't have a figure of this guy. But hopefully down the road, I definitely will. Definitely will get a figure of this guy. So there you go. GMK Godzilla at number 7. Now, reason why he's this low, remember, I like all versions of Godzilla. It doesn't matter that much to me, but the reason why he's this low, because like I was discussing with Shin Godzilla, I always prefer just my normal average version of the character. But however, like, this guy is an awesome version of the character. Like this, like he just makes such a great villain Godzilla. He's the best antagonistic Godzilla. This is the most like evil, like sinister, like ish that we ever seen the character, and he holds the title as the best antagonistic Godzilla. This is the best like villain like Godzilla's ever been in the movies. This is like the most like in my opinion the most like one of the most intimidating, one of the most threatening. Like I just like how scary in nature he is. I just really like he is such a bad butt. He is cool and all. I like how much of a savage he is. Like he can really like mess a kaiju up like really badly. Like he would show no mercy. And design wise, I know maybe people complain about how thick or he's too chunk or whatever, but honestly, I don't mind it. I think it's okay for this Godzilla design. I I think it's really great. And please, I do not want to get copyrighted. Okay, so there you go. Just an awesome version of Godzilla alone, in my opinion. So GMK at number 7. Coming in at number 6 is the Showa Godzilla. Now, this Godzilla played a role in my childhood. He makes such a great hero, Godzilla, in my opinion. Get that little weird thing off. Get off my figure. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, Showa Godzilla, I mean, like, average wise, like, he's such an average, cool design of the character, but he has different versions, like, different designs throughout the series. His designs, like, really change a lot, so, stupid cobwebs. Yeah, I have these figures on the shelf. Ta-da! Right there. So, yeah, just an average great version of Godzilla, but he played a role in my childhood. And this was like one of the first times this Godzilla was the first Godzilla I ever seen in a movie. A true Godzilla film, if I say. If you want to just include, the what movie, then yeah, it's a 1998 film I first saw Godzilla in, Godzilla related, whatever you call it. But the first time I truly seen Godzilla was in Godzilla Save the Earth, the true Japanese Godzilla. And that was in Godzilla Save the Earth. Mind blowing, huh? But this was the version of Godzilla I seen in a movie in the Showa era. So there you go. Like just a good average design, a good average version of the character. But I like this version of Godzilla. He makes a great hero, Godzilla. I just really like this version of Godzilla. He just makes a great hero version of Godzilla. So he is bad, but at some points, I just really like how in the movies you just go up and just beat the living heck out of the monsters and just like box them out. There you go. And he has other cool aspects about him. So yeah, there you go. Showa Goji at number 6. Next up, you see right in front of us. It is Godzilla 2000 at number 5. Now, this version of Godzilla is special to me in the world of fiction because you know why? This is, like I said, with Showa Godzilla. Showa Godzilla was the first Godzilla I ever seen in a true Japanese Toho Godzilla film. But this guy was my true first showing of the character. It's like the same thing with King Kong. In the first version I ever seen of King Kong was the Peter Jackson King Kong. Same thing goes for this guy. The true first version of Godzilla I ever seen with my own eyes was this version of the Big G. And you want to know how I say that? I play Godzilla Save the Earth. Yes, before I watched any of the Toho Japanese Godzilla movies, it was the 1998 movie, then the animated series, and then I got into the true Japanese Godzilla. The true Godzilla. So I played Godzilla Save the Earth, but the animated series of Godzilla 1998 was good too, though. But the Atari trilogy, Pipeworks, Destroy All Monsters Melee, Save the Earth, and Unleashed. Now, for some reason, they chose this Godzilla as, their main design. Their main design to use, their main version to use. And I don't know why, but it just works for that series of games. In my opinion, it does. I just think it works for that series of games. So, yeah, therefore, it's like the first true Toho Japanese Godzilla version I ever seen. And the film Godzilla 2000, I really like him in there. My favorite attitude of Godzilla, the anti-hero type attitude. Really like this version of the big Goji. Um like he's a great design of the character. I really like the design. It's probably my second favorite design of Godzilla of all time, next to Kuryu Saga Goji. So yeah, it is my favorite Godzilla design. Well, my second favorite Godzilla design. Comes very closely to Kuryu Saga, but when it comes to different versions, this guy is like number 5. I'm even including a certain version of Godzilla that's up next. Because to me, in my soul, and in my mind, and in my eyes, I count the next guy the same exact version as this dude. You wanna know what I'm talking about? Well, I'll get into that into a few seconds. But Godzilla 2000, number 5. Once again, please no copyright strikes. Okay, so plenty of you guys are probably scratching your head right now. While plenty of you other guys, Godzilla fans, plenty of you G fans are probably scratching your heads right now. Like, really confusingly to the max. But plenty of you G fans, or some of you G fans, probably might understand where I'm coming from here. And yes, Megaguirus Goji, yes. Godzilla 2000, this guy right here, appeared in Godzilla 2000, the movie, the film. But this guy appeared in Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. Even though they have the exact same design, only slight tweaks. They're similar in character and personality. They have the same dang atomic breath, but yet Megaguirus is not a sequel to Godzilla 2000. You know what that means? It's another reboot. So it's like Toho King Kong all over again. If you watch the previous film, if you watch the previous video, see this confusion is just so much. It makes me stumble with my words. Okay, so yes, you know what that means. This is a different version of Godzilla, technically. Yes. So, Godzilla 2000, the one that fought Orga, this is him right here. This is him. But however, this guy is his own different version. So it's like, how the heck do I rank them? They're this, in my soul, in my mind, in my eyes, they're the same dang version. They're the same design, just only slight tweaks. But however, we have to go with the facts here. This is Megaguirus Goji. This is 2000 Godzilla. But apparently, they're two different versions. Because they're two different timelines. So Godzilla 2000, its own timeline. And Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is its own timeline. So there you go. They're technically, fact-wise, surprisingly, shockingly, they're two different versions of the character. Different power levels too. Therefore, it should most likely count. So, my heart, my mind, at least in terms of fiction, my mind, my soul, and my vision, they're the same dang version of the character. But to me, fact-wise, we have to go with the facts here. Of course, because this is fact-wise, and they are different versions. So, like I said, Godzilla 1000, number 5, and this guy is going to go in number 4. It was really super hard because they're the dang same to me. But if I had to choose one, probably Megaguirus, because the green is more noticeable on him. You can see him better, and oh yeah, you can see his spikes more clear. You can just see him better, honestly. I like how he's more brightened up. And only because of determining factor. Oh yeah, in my opinion, honestly, he has slightly tiny, teensy, wincy bit more character than this guy. than his brother back in 2000, 1999, whatever. So, and one determining factor, y'all know the body slam. So yeah, so those are the determining factors why I put this guy. If I had to go with the facts here, in which we are going with the facts here. These are technically two different versions of the character, so if I had to go with one, this guy would slightly, tiny, teensy weensy be a bit more above. By the slightest tip of a hair, more above. So there you go. Godzilla, Mechagiris Goji, I should say. Mechagiris Goji at number 4. Coming in at number 3, the Heisei Goji. So here we have Heisei Godzilla. So what can I say? Just great average design of Godzilla. Great character of Godzilla. I feel like the same thing with Peter Jackson King Kong. I feel the most bad for this Godzilla. The most sympathy. I like how animalistic in nature he is. I just honestly I really like this Godzilla. I really do. He played a role in my childhood. This version of Godzilla, particularly the Heisei series is a great series of Godzilla. And, honestly, just a great design of the character, a great version of the character. I like how he's a good dad and all, like Showa Godzilla, but he's like my favorite, attitude of Godzilla. He's anti-heroish, he's neutral, he's on nobody's side, he's on his own, and yes, Godzilla is a little bad, but at some points, but plus, especially how he looked burning Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Destroy, and just like when he died in Godzilla vs. Destroy, I cried as a kid. This version of Godzilla is great. He's a number 3 for me. He made it to the number 3 spot. So that's saying something. You made it to number 3 spot. But one thing that dragged him down from being number 2, or number 1 at least, is he just kind of lacks the bad butt meter. I don't know what it is. He doesn't have as cool as the fighting skill as the next two Godzillas have. I don't like how I'm not a fan of his beam spamming, That's a negative I have with the little pet peeve of mine with the Heisei fights. Is it's a lot of beam spamming. Basically, what happens at the end when you start a matchup and Godzilla Save the Earth, just although it's much more like I wish there were more like up close, just like and he lacks a little bit of the bad butt factor. He is bad butt still, but he lacks a little bit of it, and he lacks it even more because of the beam spamming thing. How the monsters fight. So, but this guy is still at number 3 for me. I still really like this version of Godzilla, and I like how powerful he is too. So there you go. Heisei Goji, number 3. Next up at number 2. Who is it? Who's number 1 and who's number 2? Can you guys take a guess? I'll give you about a couple seconds. Okay. Monster vs. Goji at number 2. You Godzilla fans know I'm only including the live action movies, and you probably know who's at number 1. And if you guys know me, you probably also know who's at number 1 too. So, but Monster vs. Goji at number 2. My second favorite version of Godzilla. And like Kong Skull Island, of course, I remembered. Here he is. Here's his older version back in the MonsterVerse, 2014. So, yep. So, so back in 2014, he was cool, but like I said, it was the same thing with Kong back in 2017, Just, he felt too much of a different version of the character. So it felt like comparing Spider-Man. I'm sorry, but to me, in my opinion, he felt too much of a different version of the character to me. I don't know what it was, but with Goji, I mean, still, he had different versions, but to me, like, this was the Godzilla we're gonna stick to through a whole cinematic universe, Like, I wanted him to have better character, be more bad, but a more tougher, more powerful, be more of an average Godzilla design. but still had a cool, unique design. He was still Baba and cool in the movie and all, but like, just like, yeah, I wasn't as connected to this Godzilla back in 2014. Not fully the Godzilla I know from childhood, but still a cool Godzilla. But this guy, they improved him as the MonsterVerse went on, and now he is my second favorite Godzilla of all time. MonsterVerse Goji, just what can I say? You feel bad for him, you feel sympathy. He has the most character of any Godzilla. He I feel really great sympathy for him. I feel very bad for him. The best character any Godzilla, his expressions, the emotion, and that stuff. But like his power level, he's the right level OP I want him to be. The average OP, where he's a bad butt and all. He's not ridiculously OP. My favorite OP. So I like how savage he is. That beast mode moment, that atomic breath moment back in 2014. That shot where he's like in King of the Monsters, just shooting the atomic breath up in the air. He's boxing Ghidorah out of Boston, throwing him around like a rag doll a couple of points. His appearance scene in 2014, just like all of his moments in the movies, in the MonsterVerse, like every scene he's in, this guy is awesome. Like every scene he's in, he's great. He has its own little iconic moment. That's when he slaps Kong on the aircraft carrier. You know, he charges up Kong's axe to kill Mechagodzilla, so he can kill Mechagodzilla. And just honestly, like, burning Godzilla and all, just like, but this like guy like is like when they improved him, he started was more like the childhood Godzilla I know and liked, and and he is a great modern Godzilla. It makes me say yes, this is the character from my childhood. This is the king of the monsters. This is one of my childhood characters. This is Godzilla, the king of kaiju, the king of monsters. He has my favorite version of the Godzilla theme of all time too. An awesome version of Godzilla, just great. Like this version of Godzilla, my second favorite version of Godzilla of all time. And like the same thing with Kong, MonsterVerse Kong, I should say. Can't wait to see this guy team up with Kong once again in the upcoming 2024 Godzilla and Kong film. So, there you go. MonsterVerse Goji at number 2. Alright, here he is. You probably all know who's at number 1. Dun, 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 dun. It is Final Wars Godzilla. Yes, my favorite version of Godzilla of all time. Technically, his design is cool. I really like it. It's a great modern version of Godzilla alone, in my opinion. In my opinion, I know there's some people that don't like this design, but in my opinion, a great modern version of the King of the Monsters. I like how he's like a little on the thin side, but he still has mass, and how he still has some bulkiness and stockiness on him, like how he still has his muscles and all. And he's like a mixture hybrid modern design. Like, in my opinion, in my opinion, like he's like a mixture of like the Showa design and the Heisei design. That thinness and sleekness of the Showa design and that bulkiness and stockiness of the Heisei design, but in combination with Millennium elements. But in terms of design, he's my third favorite design. But Kuryasaga Goji's first place, and 2000 Godzilla, he's second place. But this guy comes close, be very close to them. He's right behind both of them. So, and honestly, like, the most bad bug Godzilla ever, the most savage Godzilla, even though he's not the right level of OP I want him to be, maybe too over the top, but he's still Baba. I still like his level of OP-ness. I like his power level still. He's the most Baba Godzilla. He's the one Godzilla that really, like, Monster vs. Godzilla, that really screams King of the Monsters. I still felt bad for him. He was getting his butt kicked by Kaiser Ghidorah. I still felt bad for him. At the same time, it's still Godzilla to me. He's still the same tragic monster. He's still the same character to me. Therefore, I still felt bad for him. And this is a 50th anniversary Godzilla design. That's what makes it special in the world of fiction. This was the last time we've seen a traditional average Goji design from Toho. Keep that in mind. So that makes him even more special. And plus, I really like how they've been using him in the recent short Godzilla films by Toho. They've short official films where he fights Hedorah, he fights Gigan, and all. Just and the design to me still holds up. It's still great. It's still awesome. It's awesome to see the Final Wars design again. And in the movie this guy's in, just like every scene he's rocking the screen, you know. And I always prefer the bum 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 bum, but I still like his theme, the na 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 na. I I still like his theme. It's still He's an awesome version of the character in my opinion, my favorite version of the character. But for one determining reason, number one, this Godzilla played a role in my childhood. Final Wars was still one of the first Godzilla movies I ever seen from Toho. And also, this guy came out. This design of Godzilla was in the movie the year I was born, in 2004. There you go. Not going to tell you exactly what month I was in, because, privacy reasons, but this guy came out the year I was born. So, for that determining reason, barely by the tip of a hair, tiny teensy weensy tip of a hair, tiniest centimeter of a hair, this guy wins, and he's a number one. That is why he's a number one. There you go. 2004 Godzilla, number one. So there you guys go. That is it. And if you guys are trying to find that there is a reference here with the scenario here, there is a reference. And I'll just give you a little thing here. It's probably going to be hard for you guys to figure out, but basically, maybe a couple of you very smart G fans out there would notice this. Pretty much, this is how Godzilla first looked in the Showa era. This is how Godzilla first looked in the Heisei era. I know this is not in 1984, but it's 1989 to 1991, so it still counts to me. It could still count. This is how Godzilla first looked like in the Millennium era. And this is how Godzilla first looked like in the Rhea era. And this is how Godzilla last looked in the Showa era. Not 1974, but it still counts. This is how Godzilla lastly looked in the Heisei era. This is how lastly Godzilla looked in the Millennium era. And this is how lastly looked Godzilla in the Rhea era. So there you go. There's the reference to there. So there you go. That is my my Godzilla design, version ranking, my ranking of the different Godzilla versions. There you go. Let me know down in the comment section below what is your favorite version of the Big G, and how would you rank them, and what is your thoughts and opinions on this. So do you agree? Do you disagree? What is your thoughts and opinions? How would you rank them? What is your most favorite Godzilla design? What is your most favorite Godzilla version? Your favorite version of the Big G. So let me know down in the comment section below. If you like the content I do on my channel, do not be shy. Go ahead and subscribe. And soon, be sure to suspect. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. You should be suspecting another part of Godzilla versus the Horror Monsters. Godzilla and Kong versus the Horror Monsters. And a special toy show episode coming soon. I should try to get to Let's Plays, but dang. However, that's going to do it for today's video. And as good old McFlurry slash Kong Spideyzilla says, peace out.